what's up, guys? And thank you for joining us again for the Words Are Tough podcast. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and I'm here with my co-host,
David Diokendo.
And we have a episode. I was going to say special again.
You already messed up.
I was going to say special again, but I looked at you and I was like, oh, he's waiting for special. Yeah. We're going to have an episode based on the Olympics.
Yeah, just talking about the Olympics.
We just got wrapped up, and we are very excited to talk about the results.
They just finished like 2 days ago, from the recording of this 2 days ago. And I was happy. You can call me, what do you call those, not a genius, not a philosopher, those people that can predict, clairvoyant, a psychic or whatever.
Mystic.
Yeah,
Mystic
what happened with Simone Biles, I kind of called it.
Yeah, you did call that.
I was happy yet sad at the same time. Happy as like knew it, but sad I'm like, I want everyone to perform at their best, but I guess was when did I predict it? Episode 14, 15?
I think it was 15.
15, where I said, I saw her compete, I think the World Championships or the trials, and she had a goat on her back, an image of a goat, all decked out and such, and I was like, I have a bad feeling. Either she might get hurt, or she might pull out, or she might not perform as well as predicted, because once you start calling yourself that, when you start drinking the Kool-Aid, you're kind of putting like too much pressure on yourself. And of course there's obviously other factors and such, but that's always, you don't compete in a vacuum. There's always things happening outside yourself. And
Kool-Aid.
And she got a bronze, individual bronze, I believe, in the beam.
I think so, balance beam.
Beam, and then silver for a team. But again, a bronze is nothing to frown upon, nor is a silver. But I mean, obviously, but when you're touted as the GOAT, or I
disagree. If you're not first, you're last.
If you're touted as the GOAT, they kind of expect you to just get golds, top, bottom, left, right, But anyway, what was your highlight of watching the Olympics?
Yeah,
there's a lot of competitions.
First of all, I'm going to work my way backwards, because I watched the closing ceremony, and let me tell you, that Japanese ska movement, I don't know if you've seen it. It's going strong.
Yes.
They love it. And
ska is very... what's a big ska band from the United States?
Well, when there was the revival that it was more like punk ska, I wouldn't say they were the best band, but I guess the one that got the most notoriety, I think No Doubt, right? Because they had the most commercial success.
Yeah. Early No Doubt.
Yeah, that's how they broke into the scene, through the ska movement.
Yeah. And then I forgot the one band.
There's a few that are really popular.
List them out.
The Dropkick Murphys or something like.
Okay, I'm familiar, or I know of them, but I can't think of a song, but that sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah, but right now I guess it's popping in Japan, because that's what the band they chose to close the ceremony out. And then they were doing like circus acts and stuff like that. It's pretty entertaining.
Sadly, I don't have like regular cable, so all my viewing was online streaming.
Okay.
And the thing that sucks about that is that, they'll give you a trial for like a day, and then like after a day, they're like, okay, now I gotta start paying like X amount for the month or for the year. I'm like, I just want to watch the Olympics. Why can't I just turn on the TV and watch the Olympics? Can't do that anymore. You can't just turn on the TV and just watch the Olympics at Channel 4. So sucks for me. So most of my viewing was like highlights or like watching it free on YouTube or another website that's like, I guess like has like an hour or a whole day lag of sorts. But
yeah, definitely. I caught a lot of the wrestling. There were some very dramatic finishes that coincidentally a lot of them were US golds that happened at the last second. I would have you guys check them out.
So actually I have a list. So this episode is sponsored by Nbox, a modern mailing center designed to meet the security needs of our time. Whether it's shopping for our favorite products or paying monthly bills, statistics show a transition to online convenience. It's quick and simple, which is why we love it. Unfortunately, it's created a new kind of criminal that seeks to steal your identity or take package right from your porch. As a listener, you can enjoy $5 off the lifetime of your subscription to an Nbox package plan when you enter tough words without spaces at checkout. Visit www.nboxdelivers.com to learn more.
Awesome. I love Nbox. Check out their website below, and you can check out all their services, their service area, and definitely love using their services. And for our next sponsor, we have Premier Rank Marketing. They can help you out if you have a business, whether it's selling stuff online or you have a brick and mortar location, restaurants, gyms. The company's helped so many people during the pandemic grow their online presence. So if you need any help from social media to Facebook targeting campaigns, Google, LinkedIn, and all the other, even TikTok, they do TikTok ads. Just reach out to Premier Rank Marketing and let them know that WordsrTough sent you, and they'll hook you up with a huge discount. Our third sponsor here, we have Worldwide Solutions, located in Clifton. They do taxes, travel, and insurance. Any type of business needs you have. They can even, give you a good direction to go if you need some payroll services, things like that. And definitely check them out. Their info is right below. And our fourth sponsor is Rick's Barbershop in Garfield, New Jersey. If you have a important date coming up, you're going to a wedding, things like that, you're going to be photographed, definitely check them out. They're the most precise barbers in the area, and they'll definitely hook you up if you tell them WordsrTough sent you. Jose and David just mention those names, and they'll be like, no problem, right away. We'll hook you up. We just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, and back to the show.
The Dave Taylor got gold, and Gable Stevenson, not Gabe Stevenson, Gable Stevenson.
That was one of them.
Not Stevenson. Stevenson got gold, and Tamara Mensah Stock got gold. So
the guy Gable Stevenson beat actually was like a 3-time world champion leading up to that, and was undefeated. Yeah. So that was crazy.
And so he had to Gable Stevenson, like, these guys are amazing. When I first got familiar with them, I heard of his I think 4-time state championship. He did like a backflip, or 3-time state champion, and I was like, who's this big kid just doing backflips after a state championship? And then following his career, I was like, oh no, he's legit. He's not just doing backflips as like a weird thing. Like, he's legit athletic, and he's legit. But he had to be the former Olympic champion in the semis, and then he had to beat the current 3-time world champion in the finals, and he wasn't even seeded. He wasn't. They didn't give him a seed. They gave him he had one of the worst, as hey, this is the hardest route to actually win the Olympics, and they gave him the hardest guys, and he beat all of them pretty decisively. Well, the last one was, he's cut it close, 2 seconds.
Definitely, he got caught in a little tricky roll a couple times, and it looked like it was getting away from him.
And he got a 4-point lifts and throw, but he had one toe right over the line. They didn't count it.
Yeah, they only gave him 1 point.
That 1 point win could have never happened, because if they counted that 4-point throw out of bounds, he would have won by 3 to 4 points. It wouldn't have been that close. But I mean, where do you think he's gonna go? Do you think he's gonna go back to Minnesota and finish off his college career, or do you think he's gonna dip and do something else?
Unfortunately, I don't know much about what he does outside, but I think more now than ever, a lot of these athletes are planning for the future more now that there's a lot more avenues. MMA, things like that. Depends if he's training boxing, things like that. He could make an easy transition with that level of control on the ground. It really depends. I think anybody that's at that level and hasn't gotten paid for that type of effort that they've put in should definitely go to MMA if they don't mind getting punched in the face.
I think if you're gonna go the money route, what's gonna get me money in my pocket and I can retire, but if he can retire at 30-something, go to WWE. Just do entertainment stuff, because he's a very entertaining guy.
Kurt Angle style.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very entertaining guy and has a lot of character and attitude. Whether that attitude is sort of like manufactured or not, he has a lot of attitude in a good way. And in NCAA wrestling, he's a bit of a bad guy. He has a bit of like a Johnny Hendricks kind of thing. Like no one really likes him in a good way. Like they like not liking him kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him. I just think anytime I see a brown guy kicking ass, I'm like, do you, man? Like, keep going.
Yeah.
But I do see him going, I mean, either finish off his college career, get like another title or help his team out. And then, but going from Olympics going from Olympics over to NCAA's, maybe the excitement isn't there. I don't really know. I'm not in either environment. And then there's MMA, and then there's WWE. He can just do a Brock Lesnar and do both.
I think WWE is very interesting, but I feel like you got to be like actually chosen. It's not like, I think MMA, you can kind of force your way there. Like,
work through the ranks kind of thing.
Yeah, like Francis, like of course Francis is a beast or whatever, but he kind of gave them no choice, and he has a bad relationship with the UFC now. But you can win that belt, and there's
very little. I mean, there is politics, but your success is pretty much based off of your performance.
Yeah, in the WWE, you have to get like Vince McMahon's blessing.
Yeah, you gotta be knighted, like.
And he might be like, you know what? I think you should wear a clown mask and a pink ponytail, and then you gotta like bend into his vision. We
want to lean into this furry thing. Do you want to be a furry and like wear like a, you know what a furry is?
Yeah, I do know what a
they're
furry
very
is.
interesting people. It's very, very. It's not my cup of tea, but people have their.
But
things.
You don't know yet because you never tried it.
Yeah.
All right. If you were a furry, what animal would you choose first, though?
If I was a furry, what animal would I be?
Yeah.
See, the thing, I equate furry with like something that's furry, like a mammal.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be like a chameleon, but I don't know. I guess a cheetah. I don't know. I like cheetahs. I think cheetahs are cool. Cheetahs They're slamming really fast. I don't know. But yeah, probably a cheetah. Or one thing I'd probably be, because it doesn't actually exist, and I've told people this when Black Panther came out. I'll probably be a panther because they don't actually exist. Do you know why they don't actually exist?
Why?
A panther is actually a mythological animal. They're not actually real. Instead, you have black jaguars or just jaguars. You don't actually have there's no such thing as an actual panther.
Oh, okay.
It's just a jaguar that happens to be black.
So it's like a unicorn. But unicorns used to exist, but
They did?
I heard that they did, yeah.
I don't know. Fact check that. I have no clue.
Yeah, I heard they did.
Really?
That it was just like that that's why like people still have accounts of unicorns from back in the day.
Interesting.
I mean, it could be some YouTube mumbo jumbo,
some flat Earth stuff that kind of.
But I mean, I don't see how it's so far fetched. With
well, a lot of mythologies are sort of rooted in some form of reality, like mermaids are sort of based off of manatees, stuff like that. I think it's just like drunk and or dying pirates seeing things.
Could
I guess pretty much.
Yeah. So I mean. Yeah.
What would you be, like a panda?
What did you say, panda?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna be, a panda.
I just kind of guessed.
Yeah,
I'll be a cheetah. He would be a panda. So furry community. Hello. But the one person I'm kind of going back is, what are your thoughts on like the whole Simone Biles? I won't say issue, but she was very much vocal. Like, hey, like I'm mentally just not in a good place to compete. I'm gonna pull out and allow my other teammates to take my place or give them a chance. Like, because we did talk about it off air, like via text, but like you had some pretty good points, I think.
Yeah. Well, first off, I think my reaction is not about like her choice to do that because of her mental health. Like, of course, everyone knows if she's not feeling good, she should speak up, and that's good for her to have done that. But I think she could have done that before she left on the trip to the Olympics, and then let another athlete who missed out on the whole event, the whole experience. She's been there many times. She has the most gold medals. It just seems like greedy You know, like, and I mean, I don't mean to use that heavy word, but it's just like,
yeah, because greed seems like selfish or self-seeking,
and what she's going through too, you know, on top of that. But it's just like, you know, like if it wasn't the Olympics and I did that in any other occasion, and I think it being the Olympics and it being every 4 years, not even just like a 1 year event, magnifies that. It's just you took someone's chance that they could have gone, and you know, they trained all their life too, just like you. And I think just that alone is just like, you should have just let somebody else go there. Somebody could have gotten a medal for the first time in their life. You know? It just, I don't know.
I mean, in a way, they so a lot of what, like the structure of the gymnastics is, in a final or a final round, you cannot have more than 2 competitors per nation to compete in a final. Mm-hmm. So luckily, when she pulled out in the all-around, Suni Lee, who eventually actually won the all-around, which is literally like you're like the top gymnasts overall, and the girl below, who was like 8th at the time, she was actually able to compete. I think she still ended up getting 7th or 8th place. I forgot her name, sorry. But, you know, I mean, it's like she did pull out, but you kind of saying, well, I think she pulled out a little too late. Maybe you could have pulled out a little bit
there could have been a
earlier.
girl that went for the first time in that pool of athletes that maybe was just good at the horse or something, you know, and like she knew that's her only shot at getting a medal. And they would have put her.
Do women play?
Or I don't know what, you know, like the
one of the apparatuses.
The one that they like jump off the spring and do the flip.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I don't know the name of that one, but let's say she was just good at that, and they were like, all right, we'll bring you. You know, you could get a silver and like team up with someone that's really good. And, you know, one of those throwaway like kind of athletes. You know, like just in case someone gets hurt, they're there.
Yeah.
But you know, she just came and then she couldn't perform. And that's all good, you know, like she did the right thing for herself. But it just took up a spot. It's like, you know, like going to a wrestling tournament in the States and then like you just decide to not make weight because you're having a rough time, you know
or
what I mean?
Like 5-15 minutes before a match, you got guys like, I don't think I'm going to wrestle.
Yeah.
The kid behind him is like, what?
You could have hashed that out the night before.
And, you know, or like he can't wrestle because he didn't weigh in. So he couldn't even take your place. So you just have this forfeit happen. And yeah, I mean, it's a different format, but I get what you mean. It's like not too little too late, but it's one of those things like, oh yeah, of course your mental health is important. Like even Michael Phelps talked about it, like in favor of Simone Biles. Yeah. But there's some few people like Henry Cejudo, who's a former gold medalist, I believe 2012, I don't know, I forgot, I got lose count. He was like, no. He's like, nah, that's not. You're an athlete. You gotta like toughen up. Like you can't like let things like that get to you. And also Gordon Ryan, who's not Olympian, but pretty much equal to an Olympic level. I mean, he's multiple-time Abu Dhabi champ, which is like the Olympics for grappling, or equal to that. And he's like, yeah, what is this? What are you talking about? Like mental health. Like no one's. And this, I mean, he didn't say this, but there is some truth. Like, if you're that level, no one's mentally healthy. Like, you're all, like, you're all kind of like mentally, like, to be this committed to like one endeavor for one moment, for like a 30-second moment or 1 minute moment, or there is a type of like psychopathy to that, or a type of like you're kind of crazy. Like, if you ever like interact and or speak to like any sort of top athlete, their focus is just that one thing. They don't really have much of a life outside of that. A lot of them don't, like, sadly. You know, like they're just very much like blinders on, focus on one thing.
I could even get like a lot more cynical with it because I do that
Please
a lot.
Do. It's a podcast.
Personally, I think she could have been scared to fail. You know what I mean? She's been the best always. She could have been like, damn, I don't feel on my A game. And finding a way out through the escape where like no one can really question you. You know what I mean? Yeah, like using the mental health could be like, I could say it's my mental health when I think I'm not going to win gold and I'm having anxiety attacks over it. You know what I mean? Like,
Like, I mean, I'm going to be devil's advocate because, again, it's a podcast, but like the guy that won the shot put, this is one dude. Where is it? Ryan Krauser. He was he's a U.S. guy, shot putter. Pretty much he throws a really big rock or around a really heavy ball. And and he's a previous Olympic champ from the last Olympics. His grandfather literally died like right when he was like literally just jumped on the plane and started flying. They told him like, hey, your grandfather just passed away, like on the flight over, which can really mess you up. And I believe that something similar happened to Simone Biles, where a family member passed away. But this guy ended up breaking the Olympic record 3 times.
Yeah, I think
like he beat his own record 3 consecutive times in the finals and ended up winning again another gold medal. However, I'm kind of not contradicting myself, but kind of like folding back. At the same time, though, if this guy messes up on a shot put, I don't know how dangerous a shot put is, but you're not flying 30 feet up in the air or 20 feet. So if he messes up, I don't know how bad the injury might be. I mean, there's always an injury possibility and everything, but I can't imagine being in a balance beam or uneven bars flying up and missing. Like, that's a pretty legit injury. Like, that's like life-changing injury.
that is true. But I would counter.
Yeah, so I'm kind of counting myself. I'm playing back and forth.
Yeah, I would counter that. I mean, they've been doing this forever.
Yeah, since they're like 4 or 5 years old.
They, you can't get injured, and that's true. But I mean, I don't know. You know what? It just seems like I hope that she's doing better, and that's that she had to have like been feeling that way after she took the trip. Like she wasn't feeling this way before, so she couldn't.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I think they should ask her that. That's all. Like why didn't you just pull out before the Olympics?
That makes sense.
That would make. Yeah, she could answer that question, and then it'd be like, all right.
So actually, I have a question to throw at you.
Sure.
Is every competitor an athlete when they compete in the Olympics? Is everyone equal? Is an Olympian equal to an athlete? Do you think?
I think it's going away from that in the perception, just because like some of the events that are getting put in there, like I think personally,
when I say Olympics, I also mean summer and winter.
My opinion is
So every person is an athlete.
I think just because the training regimen, like they have to be in, not necessarily in shape, but like in their sports, like get their skill sets as prepared as possible.
What about curling?
Curling is tough. You ever
think
I played curling before. Yeah,
is it tough?
It's really hard. Yeah,
really. You just sort of sliding a stone across.
Like you have to like shave the ice and all that.
So you just gotta clean the floor.
It's pretty
hard?
taxing. Yeah.
So now you ruined my argument.
But curling is more precision, almost like darts.
It's like a skill kind of activity, skill game.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you have to be athletic. Definitely, you have to be flexible, get down low to shave that ice. And not only that, but to get good at it, you have to do that for hours on end every day. So
I guess it can more mentally taxing as well.
Playing one game of curling, maybe not, but training for a curling championship, definitely hard.
Because I had a friend that asked me, hey Dave, like you do archery? I'm like, yeah. And they asked like, why are the archers look like they're not athletes? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, some are like really, really skinny. Like the guy that won, his name is, think of this name, hear this name, Meta Gazos. That's his name, Meta Gazos. Imagine having your name is Meta. It's kind of interesting. He's a Turkish kid. He's like the I don't know, at least a $120, like really skinny guy. But like in archery, there's like very, very heavy dudes and super skinny dudes. But if you saw him walking down the street, you would not know, oh, that guy's an Olympian. And I think for me, I mean, and coming from archery or actually doing archery, I think it's not like physically there's very easy. It's mostly mental. It's a very hard thing to do. Shooting one bullseye or 2 or 3, not that terrible, not that hard actually. Shooting a bullseye, on like a world stage like the Olympics with like wind 70 something yards away, I think 75 yards away, doing it multiple times over and over again, that's hard. Physically, not that hard. It's more that mental focus that's hard. That mentally they're on point, but physically they're.
But the thing is, when you take mental, like very mentally taxing things like that, and you bring them to like an Olympic level, world level, the level of concentration has an effect on you so profound that, like, have you seen that article on the chess world champions that they'll lose like they'll burn like through 3,000 or 4,000 calories in one tournament?
I did not know that.
And they're sitting down in a chair.
They're just sitting down, just like
burning. So there's something with
fuel.
There's something with like your heart rate and your brain, and I guess the calculations you're running, almost like your brain is like running your body's engine really hard. You're
like redlining your brain processors.
Yeah. So I mean, it's tough. Some people, they'll pass out of exhaustion because they don't even realize like, oh, I didn't eat breakfast today. Like, and you're playing chess. Yeah,
I gotta try it.
I play that much, but it's not worked for me yet. The diet regimen.
I don't think so. But well, I go like because we both wrestled in high school, and I not tried wrestling. I did like unaffiliated club wrestling tournaments in college, and then going from that to jiu-jitsu, and then I mean I'm still doing jiu-jitsu, but also archery. Like they're not equally hard. I mean I much rather do archery all day than jiu-jitsu all day. But they're both very different. But I would say with confidence, and I might get some backlash from archers, stop calling yourself athletes. I'll just say that. Like, stop. But I can say from experience is like archery is not because when I equal athlete, like what do you consider a chess player an athlete?
I mean,
because you play chess.
Yeah,
I don't play chess.
If you're playing at the level, like the level that we're talking about, the Olympics, definitely. But I don't think chess players are athletes. And maybe, like you said, like some archers, definitely not athletes. Like from what you're saying.
Yeah.
But those guys that are in the Olympics, I think so.
Yeah. It's pretty taxing, but I just realized there's like some sports like gymnastics where like if you don't get into it like really early, or even wrestling, like 4, 5, 6 years old, you may not get to that level that your mom or dad wants you to get, or what you want to get to. Like something like gymnastics or wrestling, you kind of really just if you start later in life, like at 12, you kind of miss the boat. You're behind. But there's this one diver from U.S. that started. She's 29, started diving at 20 and got a bronze medal. Yeah. So there's certain things like. I'm not saying diving is easy. Obviously, diving is ridiculously hard. But, I mean, I don't know. They didn't really explain what she did beforehand, if she was a gymnast before or anything. But, like, getting into a sport at 20 and 9 years later you're a medalist, you kind of have that genetic predisposition.
Gifted. Yeah, you have the gifts necessary to make that happen. Yeah, I mean, another impressive thing from the Olympics was you spoke about diving, the Chinese girl. She was 14.
Yeah, 14-year-old, like, little
And technically,
child.
I don't know how they got her in, because supposedly, if you're 14, you would have had to had your birthday by December or something like that.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to be. I forgot what age, but you need to be a particular age by December of the year that you compete. So if it happened last year, 2020, she wouldn't have competed, but because it's a year later, she hit the cutoff. So, but yeah, and you see this little child, literally a child.
Could that be an advantage, though?
Yeah, and also she competed specifically to make money because like her mom is like bedridden and ill. Imagine being 14 years old and like having that on your shoulders. Like, I'm competing for money. Because, when you win a gold medal, the state or your country has like a X amount that they would provide for you. I think the U.S. gives their athletes the least amount of money based on their gold medal. I forgot who has the highest, but there's one country that gives like 200,000. I think it was the Philippines. The woman that won in the Philippines, I think she got like 200.
200, like equivalent to U.S. dollars?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, U.S.
I was about to say.
I think a gold medal for like a U.S., I think like 35, which is I wouldn't mind having an extra 35 grand in my bank account right now, but 200 to 35 is. But then again, there's so much support. The U.S. got like the most medals out of any country. But imagine being the only medalist in your country. Like, you're gonna get like some dough, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'd put that into Dogecoin.
Speaking of that, I'm jumping ship. I'm leaving Robinhood.
Were you going to Weeble?
I'm going to Fidelity.
Fidelity, okay.
I know we're not talking about stocks, but yeah, after a while, I'm like, I just don't feel right about Robinhood. I think if it get a spike, that fear of like they won't let me pull money out. I don't know. I can't do that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? They do freeze the activity on certain things, and the other day, Robinhood had a huge spike, and they had the same warning, except it was a little different. It says trading has been halted on this security on other platforms, but not Robinhood because it was their own. And I'm like, yeah, convenient, right?
Yeah. Though, I mean, I don't want to talk about Robinhood too much, but there was I have stock, and there was one particular stock where they would give recommendations: buy, hold, sell. Mm-hmm. And there was a point where like everything was low. There was one point in like last Monday where just everything was negatives. Like every single stock was negatives or going down. And I have AMC stock, and it would say sell. And I'm like, okay, like it gives you like percentage, like, it was like 80% sell. And I looked at my other stocks like Nintendo and Disney and stuff like that, and everything said hold or buy. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Yeah. Like, why would? But all the stocks are down, so why wouldn't all of them say buy? Why is a AMC stock like sell? And that brings up a whole like not conspiracy, but fuckery. Some messed up stuff happening there.
A lot of times when that happens, you just want to look at who they're gathering their opinions from. And in that case with AMC, it's so popular that I guess a lot of the experts don't believe in the squeeze and things like that. They hate on it on purpose, and they think it's way overbought and overvalued, which doesn't look like it's the case, but time will tell. But yeah, that's why you run into that situation where it's just
I'm like, I don't
bunch of haters.
When I saw that, I was like, I don't feel right about Robinhood anymore. I don't think I could trust it, so I'm jumping to Fidelity. I just gotta figure out how to transfer all of it over.
It's pretty easy.
But let's go back to wrestling. But I think the U.S. team, specifically in freestyle wrestling, because there's Greco and freestyle, the most medals since 1984, I believe. It was 9 medals altogether. So 3 gold, 2 silver, and 1, 2, 3, 4 bronze, 4 thirds, 4 bronze medals. So I think it's 9. That looks like 9. Yeah. But I think the only guy I think everyone's happy with their medal except for Kyle Snyder. Because if you see all like the whole team smiling, holding up their medals, he's the only one not smiling. He has a silver medal. None to frown upon, but
yeah, definitely not.
That was it was good, entertaining, but it was a pretty good match. He was Snyder against Sadulayev. I forgot his first name, but he has a pretty long first name. But do you know who that guy is?
What country is he from? Oh, Russia.
Russia, of course. Pretty much the last time they competed, Sadulayev said in the World Championships, he said, you will not score upon me, and I'm going to beat you in like 2 minutes. And he beat him in 2 minutes. He just pinned him within 2 minutes, which is impressive because Kyle Snyder was a former Olympic champion and like a 2 or 3 time world champion. So like, imagine telling that to the Olympic champion, like, I'm going to beat you in 2 minutes.
Yeah, this guy probably beats up on the heavier weights or something.
Yeah, and then they're not even heavyweight. They're like, I think the one weight below the heavyweight. I forgot what kilos that is, but
yeah,
it was very impressive. But it was a close match. It was I think 3 by 3 points. But in wrestling, 3 points actually it's a lot of points. It doesn't seem like a lot, like 6-3 or 7-4. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a pretty big jump. And actually, a lot of matches that end in 1-0 or like 5-4 is actually really common. You don't see that many pins at super high level.
That's rare.
Wrestling. Yeah. But is there any sport that you were looking forward to and you're just completely disappointed in?
No, everything was really good.
Really?
Yeah, I thought everything was that I watched that I was interested in. definitely was entertaining. I did catch the women's archery. That was the Korean girl one.
Yeah, they're all Koreans.
Yeah, she was.
The Koreans are crazy good at archery.
She was cool. She made this little face like while the arrow was in the air that I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
But it was like this. I don't know, like this like. It wasn't her concentration face because it was as soon as she let the arrow go, like she just like try to find it or something. I don't know what she was doing.
Yeah, there's a habit, and even for professionals that are at a really high level, where once you shoot it, you kind of want to see where it lands, which is a really bad habit because you really shouldn't do that. You should just let it, because you looking at where it's gonna land doesn't change the trajectory that much, so there's no point of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed that, which is very odd for a person that good. But I believe she still
That's
won.
like when people play PlayStation and they like turn their hands like
with
the remote.
They turn the steering with turn the remote.
Yeah.
But the one, and I felt weird about this. I was not looking forward to karate, but I was kind of like wondering, okay, how's that gonna go, like the karate thing, because they have taekwondo and they have like boxing, and I think there's two different like types. I mean, I think there's three forms. There's like the katas, which is like just doing like repetition of the same movement, and then there's the kihon Kihon, which is more like the performance, or they kind of they have like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to like do a performance of different like forms. And then you have the kumite, which is like like blood sport, where you actually fight, but not actually blood sport, but blood sport. They say kumite. Have you seen Bloodsport?
Yes, I have.
Oh, because you never saw like Top Gun, so
yeah, no, that's
kind of curious if you just completely missed the 80s.
No, Bloodsport definitely saw that.
But there was this guy that I think from Saudi Arabia. He KO'd his opponent in the finals, and the guy that got KO'd won. I think did I share that video with you?
Yeah, I did see that. I was a little confused. I didn't know that was an automatic disqualification. But I guess like not controlling your power is a part of the sport.
My critique on that is like I've seen more. I've trained in Muay Thai, and I've seen like MMA fights in person, and of course the UFC, and I've seen like kickboxing and Thai fighting and like all the striking stuff. And when you compare those strikes to like what the guy did to his opponent, he didn't even like wind up. He just met him halfway, and just it wasn't a powerful kick. It was a well-timed kick. So, and at the right place. So it kind of, and of course when you're going this way and the other guy's going this way, it's like,
what I was confused about was like he kind of like celebrated it like he won.
Yeah, I mean, which is okay.
But what I'm saying is like me knowing that I'm gonna lose because of that, I'd be kind of upset immediately. Like I think he wasn't aware that he was going to get disqualified.
I don't think he knew he lost until like they told him.
I think he was standing there still, and then when the ref was like pointed at him, he was just like, "Oh man,
like bad, like bad boy, bad. Don't do that again. You lose."
Does he still get a silver?
I think it's silver. Yeah, okay. It's disqualified silver.
Disqualification like takes you out.
I don't know, but I shared it to so many friends, and I put like hashtag karate is a joke. Karate isn't a joke, but like obviously because I have a few friends that do karate like legit and have their own schools, but like. If you want to get, I don't know, like I just feel, maybe for those that do karate, I don't really know, but I just feel like that's a really weird way of getting a gold medal for the guy that got knocked out. Is like, hey, how'd you do one? Oh, I got knocked out.
Hopefully he's in one of those countries that gets more money. Because that'll be the sweetest knockout ever.
It's just this weird way of like winning. It's like, doing like, the hurdles and just ramming your face straight into the last hurdle, knocking yourself out, and you wake up and you're like, oh, I won because of, I don't know, is it this weird way of winning? It's just really bizarre. Or doing, I don't know, obviously they're all different sports, but I think it's just a really bizarre way of winning. I don't even know if I would be okay getting the medal.
Yeah, it's like being rewarded for actually losing.
I mean, in all fairness, you lost.
Yeah.
You actually threw a really bad punch, and the guy capitalized on it. He just hit you a little bit too hard.
Yeah, And you know what else I learned about judo? I've watched some judo before, but just like the techniques and things like that, I realized I do not know any rules about judo. Like sport judo, like I have no idea. Like what are they doing? But I noticed that there's a special throw that if you land that throw, it's like a pin in wrestling. Like you automatically win.
It's called an ippon.
Yeah, and it's like the leg trip and they land flat on their back, right?
Pretty much any time, similar to Greco-Roman and wrestling, if you throw the guy pretty much head over heels and they land flat on their back, that's immediate ippon, it's immediate pin throw, and the match is over immediately.
Yeah.
If you throw the guy, but he lands kind of like face first or like on his chest or stomach or side, there's other words for like, you get points for it. And then there's also like if you throw them, but you hold them down for 10 seconds? I forget. I think it's 10 seconds. Then you win the match. So there are pins in judo. That's why you see a lot of them like belly down and kind of ball up. You would think, what? You're giving up your back. Why would you do that? But because there's pins in judo.
Yeah.
It's an odd. I mean, judo is very fun to learn, but once you start learning like the actual sport of it and the points, it's actually like, wait, what? It's like, so I throw you. So like if you do a bad throw, a lot of guys will like abort the throw and you'll see them just throw themselves on the ground flat and like ball up, and you're like, what's going on? That's so weird.
Yeah.
But there's actually a sibling duo that from Japan that they both got gold medals in their respective weight classes, which is pretty impressive. It's like, imagine being a gold medalist, but not just you, but also your sister at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be interesting when they would fight at home.
Maybe there's no fight. Maybe it's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna, because I know you could just toss me on the ground and just break my head. It's pretty I mean, there's a lot of the times I would watch just a random sport like online, and I'm thinking like, I'll just watch it and I'm like, wait, I don't actually know any of these rules. Like I don't even know what's going on. I'm just this one person won, and I had to do some like research on Wikipedia and like, what are the rules of this particular sport? Have you seen rugby? Did you see rugby?
Yeah, I saw the haka dance. New Zealand took the gold.
The women.
Yeah, the women.
Yeah.
Yep. Saw that. I liked a lot of the boxing was great this year too. That I caught.
And some knockouts too. I saw it was just rare in Olympic boxing.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get points for knock. I mean, you get, obviously if you knock the guy out, you win. But like it's more of like a point kind of boxing. It's like hitting him more than they hit you.
Yeah.
The power isn't much of a factor, so knocking the guy out is pretty impressive but unnecessary.
And they got rid of the helmets.
Yeah, no more headgear.
I like that because not because the guy got hurt, but I saw one match and the guy got his nose split and they ended the match. I guess disqualification.
Yeah, headgear doesn't prevent knockouts.
Yeah,
people think it doesn't prevent knockouts. Headgear prevents cuts and abrasions, but getting hit in the head with a headgear is equivalent as not having headgear.
I heard there's studies that are showing that it might be more damaging because you could sustain more head blows.
Yeah, it hurts less, therefore you get hit more often.
Yeah,
kind of like football. It hurts less, but you get hit more often.
Yeah.
There are, I mean, it's not going to happen, but there is a pushback on having, there's like a advocacy of having less equipment for football. Because of, I mean, you play football. I play football up until like freshman year in high school. And there is a sort of false sense of security when you're wearing all these pads on, and, they just run into each other like full force. When you do rugby, you can't just like bash your head into somebody. It's going to hurt. So I don't know. I mean, I like watching rugby more than I like watching football, American football. Because there's more, I guess you can say, action. It kind of continues, especially, I guess, not Olympic style, but Olympic rugby is like, it's called sevens. There's only 7 players per team. But like not actual rugby, but like international rugby, I think it's like 14 or 15 on each, like at the same time. So it's a very Do you think there should be less equipment for football, or
Oh no,
does it matter?
No, I think
more equipment,
they're doing good.
Better rules.
Just keep the football is just a sport where you're not going to be able to, like, you're going to have to deal with the concussions, and that's part of what you sign up for. I just think they just have to do a better job of teaching people that at a younger age, so they know what they're getting themselves into.
Knowing actually how to tackle correctly.
But knowing that they really can't escape that risk, like being made aware that not wait till you're like in college committed under a scholarship to like really let it sink in, like telling these kids when they're in like middle school, like, there's damage, there's could be brain damage, kind of scare out like the kids that really aren't in it for the, for like the career.
I guess it makes sense. It's like, okay, you're gonna get hurt. It's not if it happens, it's when it happens.
Yeah. I got a concussion.
Are you okay with that? And hey, parents, are you okay with that? And then if you want to continue, I mean, of course, every sport has a risk, even like baseball. Like some kids die playing baseball. Like just like ball straight to the chest and they just die.
Yeah, I saw that happen one time at like a high school game or something here in Jersey, I think. I mean, I didn't see it, but I saw the article. I've gotten two concussions.
That was some time ago.
Maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right before the pandemic.
Yeah, like a kid got hit in the head or the chest.
I think it was the chest, yeah.
And there's heart attack or
he stayed on the field and then he collapsed like a little later.
Dang.
Yeah.
Is there like a? So now I'm sounding like a mom. Do you think? You think they should have like chest protection for all the players or for all the infielders?
Maybe the infield. Yeah, maybe the infield, but then that affects your mobility. But I think we could just create some kind of like Under Armour type of thing, that just has it fixed on the area.
I guess. Yeah, so it's not like not like a Kevlar thing, but like something protecting. I mean, because your heart matters. Getting hit in the chest with a ball. Yep. That hurts.
Yeah. Like your heart is the most important thing. Your brain, heart, and lungs. Pretty much those three.
I mean, and even in Major League Baseball, the first baseman has a helmet sometimes. So they get collisions. And actually, have you seen like first baseman injuries?
No.
I don't know if this is an old video, but this is one video of a compilation of the first baseman not like. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but you don't actually want to put your foot on top of the plate or on top of the bag. You want to put your foot on the side of it because like guys are just running through, and some guys will put their foot on the side or like on top or on the side, and the player just like steps right on their foot or ankle, and you just see their ankle just like. Let me not be descriptive because I don't want to get what do you call
get a flag
for being too descriptive. But yeah, those are not fun to watch, but.
That and man, baseball is tough because it's like, it's just a grueling season. So it's
so
like,
long. Yeah, it's like unnecessary long.
It's just it's just too intense, too much baseball.
Yeah, it's always like 300 games.
Cut it out.
Yeah, it's like who's watching? And then what's crazy? I mean, I like baseball. I have to like baseball. I'm Puerto Rican. It's like mandatory to like baseball, but it's like no person is watching 300 games, and if they are, you're crazy. What is wrong with you? Like, how are you following like there's those guys that actually will just know all the stats from every single player, from every single pitcher, and how they like from every like the past 10 games, how many like
I thought I knew a lot about baseball, and I started doing fantasy baseball, and now I know a lot more, but I still don't know as much as some people do. It's just
too much. I like watching MMA, specifically like UFC, because of you can just follow one guy. Like I've been following Jose Aldo for 13 years now, and he's still at it.
Yeah,
it's so much easier following MMA because you're just following individuals. You're not following like whole teams, and like things being traded and this and that, and like I'm much rather just follow MMA or more like one-on-one kind of sports or like boxing and stuff like that.
When do you think MMA will become an Olympic sport?
Never.
You don't think so?
No, too many. Look, you just had karate You just had a guy win in karate for getting knocked out. And I don't think they're even gonna have karate for the next Olympics. I think they're dropping it again. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I see jiu-jitsu getting into Olympics before MMA. I see that happening. However, you gotta get one rule set. You need to one unified rule set. Like in wrestling, there's like, imagine like in college wrestling, it's like, oh, we have like Pac-10 has one set of rules, and like another group of schools have another set of rules, and Ivy League schools have another set of rules. Like that's not gonna work. Like that's kind of like how jiu-jitsu is now. Like different organizations have different rules, understandably, because obviously they think their rules are better. But you need like one unified rule set so you can like present that to the Olympic Committee and say, hey, we actually have not just a national sport but international sport with like international set rules that we all agree upon. Obviously, they're not perfect, but we agree upon them, and then like from there. But I think that's more likely to happen than MMA.
What if we started a promotion that can be viewed upon as like the equivalent of the Olympics of the MMA, and it was like a tournament style, like kind of like PFL type of thing.
Yeah.
And
like
you just make like countries and teams and things like that. I guess people that aren't in major promotions can join it. People that aren't.
I mean, didn't they have several attempts at that?
I don't know. I never seen like a country-based one.
That's true.
Yeah, like you pick people from all different countries, maybe 32 countries to start or something. Representatives make it small weight classes, just like
5 instead of like 8 or
like
9.
the old school weight classes.
Yeah. Have like one.
Somebody do that.
Have like a 130, 160, 190, 210 heavyweight.
Yeah, do like a
something like that.
You know how they want to make like a super heavyweight and a heavyweight at like 235.
Okay.
Like maybe test that out in that one.
Yeah, I don't heavyweight over 260. Who's even competed at that? What are you, Bob Sapp? Like
Brock Lesnar. Yeah, that's like super heavyweight. Now all the champions they're up in like the 240s. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of showing that there is a point of like not no return, but there's a weight of like, oh yeah, being that heavy unless you have some help, like some like horse meat or some PEDs. You're definitely gonna need help at that, like above 240, and still have like cardio and gas to last you. It's not so much the strength; it's like being able to move all that weight for 15, 20 minutes in a fight.
If you just want to see the pinnacle of like heavyweight, like where you can take it with horse meat. You just gotta look at Uberim.
Yeah,
when he was
on Uberim.
Yeah, when he was on the juice. Yeah, it is Overeem, but I think when he was on the juice, they called him Uberim. That was something to behold. I went back to look at it. He was humongous, dude, and he was skilled too, because he was more skilled then. He was younger.
He wasn't some brute. He actually knew how to. Not knew. He still knows how to fight, but yeah.
I think that Overeem beats Francis. I
think top Uberim, 2010, 2011, 12. Yeah, or maybe before that. Even before that, definitely can beat Francis today.
Him and Vitor are the scariest. In that time frame.
I agree. I think if you could just pick someone from time, like a TRT Vitor and Uberim, those are two most best fighters ever. For like, if you were to just pick them out and just move them around, they'll be dangerous even today.
Yeah. Oh man.
Is there anything else with? This is a complete side note. Andrew Cuomo resigned officially today. What is this today? August 10th.
Yes.
So yeah, I actually went to like the corner store just to get some water, and I looked up, and is Cuomo just resigning? The guy resigned, and then it cut off to like the news, and I'm like, okay, finally. What took you so long? That's an interesting thing. I mean, this is a really bad comparison because we talked about Simone Biles, but about pulling out early. Like, why did he just pull out? Or why couldn't he just resign 2, 3, 4 months ago?
If this was a different podcast, I'd have a different set of jokes for this time right now. But what I'm gonna say is, one thing I noticed was how happy all the Trump followers got about it.
Really?
They were like really celebrating because I guess he was vocal against Trump. So
okay.
anyone that right now they're rejoicing. Like some of my friends that like Trump, they're just like, get him out of here, this and that.
Yeah, like we got one.
But when
whatever.
Trump was getting accused, it was lies, and this is all just a scam. So it's just a little hypocrisy.
A lot of hypocrisy. But one of my friends texted me today, like while I was driving here, and he's like, this is the first time ever in history that New York is gonna have, I believe, a female governor.
Wow.
I could be wrong, I'm going based on what my friend just told me, like right when I was driving here.
Yeah.
So that might be true, but whether she's the first or second or whatever,
I think she'll be like the acting governor, right?
She'll be the acting governor, which is like either hasn't happened in a long time or hasn't happened ever. So I guess good for her, but weird circumstances to get that position, and but I think he should have resigned months ago. It's like that. My point of it is not even like a party thing. Is more like, okay, is this gonna hinder you doing your job?
That's what he said in the press conference. He's like, it's gonna take months of litigation and things like that. So
I didn't even see it, but I guess that what he said?
And he was saying that like someone needs to be on the front lines there fighting with the COVID Delta variant. He's like, I don't think I'd be able to give New York everything like that I would when I'm fighting in courts and all that stuff. And not to get too political, but just two things to look out for, I think. One thing is just the same how New York's happening. We didn't fact check, but if the woman's going to step into the role and be the first woman, that might happen with our president.
Possibly.
That might happen. He might step down. I heard he took a abrupt hiatus this week.
Was he sick?
He just stayed home in Delaware.
I honestly don't keep track of since I got married, I'm just I have clocked out when it comes to politics stuff.
Yeah.
I have too much stuff happening at home to deal with politics. It
feels nice to be able to clock out. Before, it seemed like we couldn't escape it. But that might happen with Biden. And then we'd have Kamala Harris as the president. And I don't know. That I think things will go really south there, not because of her or any performance. I just think the political climate.
She's gonna even have more pushback. You're not
exactly.
You're not even the real president. Whatever. Yeah, I can see that. The only time I actually see political anything is if I'm at the gym and there's always TVs on and stuff. Whenever we go to the corner store, there's always a TV on. But other than
the guys
that,
hogging the dumbbells.
Yeah, there's
on the back of their shirts.
I don't know how much time you have left, but there is this one guy. I told my wife, hey, this is one guy that he's always doing some weird kung fu stuff in front of the dumbbells, and she didn't believe me. Mm-hmm. He's he's just there, kind of pushing air back and forth, looking all zen. He's balding but has long hair, kind of like a Steven Seagal thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but but he's I don't know, 5 feet tall, about 200 pounds, not the best looking.
Yeah.
Physique. I mean, he's at the gym, so good for him. But the thing what he does is
put some weights in those hands.
He will literally just stand right in front of the dumbbells, pick up 2 5-pound dumbbells and start doing these weird kung fu kata motions. Mm-hmm. And then put the dumbbells back, but won't move. He would just stand right there. And she didn't believe me until she actually came with me to the gym. And I'm like, there he is. He's right there. And he's like, oh, he does exist. I'm like, yeah, I didn't lie. He's a real guy. Kind of like one of those McDojo people.
Yeah.
That McDojo Instagram page I mentioned before. But it's a real, I don't know. It's when you kind of see it online and you actually see it in person, it's oh, wow, that's actually a real thing that actually happens, you know. But
and not to get too political, but the second thing I didn't mention.
I love how every time you go political is always not to get too political.
Yeah, because I mentioned a few things. The second thing to watch out for is right before Cuomo, before the Attorney General came out and announced the case against him, he had literally that morning put in those restrictions with the New York City dining and the COVID, the COVID vaccines that they're going to ask for proof, I guess the passport.
Right.
And then
Later there was vaccination.
Yeah, there was that abrupt press conference that they were pressing charges or whatever. Let's see what happens with that. Is that going to still happen? Is it going to get rolled back? Never know. You're something to watch out. I told you.
I haven't been to New York City in a year and a half, and we don't live that far from New York. Maybe like a 45-minute drive. I mean, of course, if you look on a map, neither of us live far from New York City, but on a map is different from actually driving and traffic and parking and all that nonsense. Traveling is, on paper it's like, oh, you live so close, but when you actually travel, it could be up to almost 2 hours.
I used to go to the city regularly, like weekly, before the pandemic, and for like years, because I would go to Brooklyn a lot.
Yeah, that's just where you hang out. People hang out sometimes.
Yeah, you know? I used to be a donor to Rooftop Films, and it's like, independent films and festival. They do like a lot of outdoor showings all summer. You catch a lot of indie films before they come out, and it's been fun. And ever since the pandemic happened, of course, I stopped. They canceled it. But yeah, I have tickets to go see Joe Rogan in October.
Nice.
So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go because unless I get my vaccine, so we will see.
Yeah, I saw him live a handful of years ago. Super funny. I actually saw him. I don't know if he had a special since, but he did this skit where he climbs on top of the stool and acts like a demon kind of thing. Where I'm not gonna do his bit justice, but he did that live. I saw him do that bit in person. I'm like, oh, that's really impressive. Like, he gets on top of that stool and like both feet, both hands on top of the stool, completely balanced. And when you see it like on Netflix or on YouTube, it doesn't really do it justice. When you actually see it in person, you're like, oh wait, like that actually takes a good amount of athleticism to just do that one bit that he does. I don't know if he still does it though. Really funny though.
Yeah, I'm excited because, well, two things. I heard now at Madison Square Garden, they're making you put your phone in these little pouches that they lock.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna do that for his show. And what I heard through the grapevine on the internet is that usually when at a Joe Rogan show they make you do that is because Dave Chappelle's gonna perform too. He's the one that actually. So I'm excited because they're gonna make us put our phones in our pouches. So.
Well, yeah, he as in Dave Chappelle has this sort of he actually hires a private company that somehow organizes this. I don't know how they organize this, but they organize they give you a designated black bag with like a lock on it and a number or something, and then you put it in the bag. They put it in a safe.
I think you keep the bag on you.
You keep the bag on you.
Yeah, but it's just that you can't open it because you need the magnetic.
Oh, okay, then
thing.
Never mind. Then I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's something that prevents you from accessing your phone. Makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. You know what? I think. This might be the marketing guy in me, but I think that they should have a team there that's especially there just to take not non-flash photography for the people that paid to go to the event, and you can receive that if you choose to. You could text this number if you want pictures from the event, so you can post them on social media. It kind of builds your text list.
So Chappelle has control of what goes out,
what pictures he wants out, and people still get their pictures to share. And
hey, I was there.
At the same time as you build your text list for your next show, you could do a text blast. You know what I mean? It's a good way, like how people build email lists. I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the box there, but
no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
though.
I feel like you could do a lot with that.
But at the same time, again, we're not Dave Chappelle. Does he even need that extra bump?
For his case, maybe not. But I think it benefits the people that are paying to see you. They have
paying.
A good time.
Yeah, they're paying X amount. I don't know how much. Do you want to say how much you pay for those tickets?
Honestly, I don't know because it was a gift.
Okay, good for you. Yeah. Me too. When I went, my friend of mine bought 2 tickets, and then the other ticket was for somebody else, and I think that person didn't want to go. Then he invited me, so I never bothered asking how much it costs.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure it's a pretty penny.
Yeah, my girl, she'll like to go for the extra close seats and pay more. So I appreciate that. I reciprocate that too. Like we went to go see Ariana Grande. She likes Ariana Grande. Luckily, I'm a singer too.
God bless you.
So I liked it too. Yeah.
Actually, wait. I'm getting her mixed up with what's that girl that she's same. Demi Lovato. I'm getting them mixed up, but I'm not a fan of that kind of music.
Yeah, no, I could imagine.
Yeah, the Demi Lovato didn't know the difference. Like some person asked him, like, what's your favorite dish? Like, and a dish is like your favorite food.
Yeah.
You know, what's your favorite dish to eat? He's like, oh, my favorite dish are like mugs, because they're like really big, but there's a handle on it, and I can like, drink some from it, or I can have some soup. And the guy's like, okay, and then he went to the next question, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person is so detached from like reality.
Yeah, so
like,
on that note, from us, before we get detached from reality on the on that string that we just went on, guys, please give us a like, a subscribe, ring the bell a couple times below so you get the notifications when we post up a new video.
Right.
And reach out to us. I'm going to be putting our social media handles up in the videos now. If you guys got any questions, reach out to us directly. It's the most direct form of contact to us. So
yeah, I respond to everybody as long as it's not spam.
Yeah. Don't spam us unless you're gonna spam us with a sponsor request. You can do that as well.
Spam with sponsors.
And I think me and you have been speaking about possibly doing some guests, right? Very soon.
Yeah, we need to figure out literally the room of how to actually organize a space so it's like doesn't look too cramped, or it needs to be hospitable, or I suppose with other people. But
maybe get a little tablecloth.
There's a handful of people that are interested in coming in and just chatting and talking about whatever, but we gotta figure it out, all the logistics of like camera stuff and
so that's
stuff.
That's some stuff you have to look forward to. Maybe when we hit the 20s, right? We're looking about maybe at the 20s we'll add another person in the room. You guys have any feedback, please leave some comments below. They definitely help out the video and the algorithm to push our channel forward.
Damn algorithm. Yeah. I hate the algorithm.
Yeah. So thanks again for sharing another episode with us, and we appreciate you
very much.
This is Words Are Tough. My name is Jose Rodriguez. I'm my co-host.
David Diokendo.
And have a good night.
Bye-bye.